Hi, Mom. I just had to get that in, okay?
Hi, I'm Dottie the Sidekick, the problematic white girl of the day. This is my friend Rob. We are working on a school project, correct?
Yes, this is a school project. This is of my own creation. Before we begin, there is a couple of things I wanted to get across. First, I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in America, to all the men who don't have children. Doesn't mean that you're not a father, because somewhere there's a kid that's looking up at you and he's watching your example. And in that example, he is what he's going to embrace when he becomes a man. So you're not excluded from this. Happy Father's Day. Also to the mothers who are single parents, so Happy Father's Day. I also wanted to thank my friend Dottie for allowing me to have this platform to hopefully make a contribution and help out. I also want to say Happy Juneteenth. It's a glorious celebration. So on paper we're free, but the struggle continues. Juneteenth, the historic value of Juneteenth is a celebration of the last of the freed slaves being notified that they're free. In Texas, it took an American general to come to Texas to inform the slaves there that they were free. This was 2 years after Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. So for those 2 years, those people didn't know that they were free. That's what Juneteenth is. The celebration is, well, up until this year, was mainly in Texas and Oklahoma. You see, because this triggered a migration when they found that they were free, and en masse, they began populating Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they built their own town, had their own businesses, schools, churches, their own community, and jealous white people burned it down, burned it to the ground. 1921. If you would indulge with us for a little while, me and my friend, we're going to play a little questions and answers, and we're going to try to focus on what people need to know today. So we're going to jump into this. We're going to touch on some sensitive things, but this is what needs to happen. We need to have this discussion, America. So, with that, what's your first question, Dot? Oh, just fire away.
Okay, so what should a white girl like me know about black people?
What should a white girl know about black people?
God, I'm not this bad.
Well, I don't imagine that we have enough time to record as much to answer that question. I can give you the short answer, and that would be anything you don't know already.
I imagine that would fill libraries.
How about if we can be just a little more specific? Try to keep in mind you represent people who are curious.
Okay, honest to God, the first question I really have is, have you ever genuinely felt afraid for your life because of the color of your skin?
The short answer is yes. My father had to talk with me when I was a kid, and no parents should have to have this kind of talk with their kids when they're kids. And my father was a police officer. What he did was he came home, he gathered all the boys in the neighborhood, in my immediate circle, and he sat us all down, and he gave us all the talk. And he explained to us what we're dealing with, and he told us how to act, and explained to us that if we got into a confrontation with the police, to cooperate, because he gets one phone call. If you get one phone call, you can call him. And everybody had that, but I know that everybody didn't get that talk, and everybody doesn't understand I was fortunate enough to be raised by a police officer. Not everybody has that fortune.
When I think of the talk, it's mostly mom and dad explaining sex for the first time, which was an entertaining talk. Don't get me wrong, but it
Not like this.
no
No.
no.
Well, I still remember the feeling I walked away with. At the time, I was so young, it only seemed to further confuse me. I do remember when the day came when I could actually see somebody being detained by the police, suspected of this or that. I remember the days of the police pulling up on me and stopping me for no reason. To say that you look like you fit the description of somebody we're looking for. Well, I imagine that happened a lot, in quite a few different places during those periods, and that still goes on today too. They actually have a title for it. They call it profiling. Why? I had no idea. I just knew my father's instructions. And whatever the officer asked of me is when he asked for ID, I give him ID. Yes, it's frustrating, but keep your eye on the prize. What's the bigger picture here? No, you don't know why you're being detained. Yes, it's aggravating, but hey, if that's all that the officer asked you for and you gave it to him, and you made it through that situation, there's no point in being upset that you were detained.
How old were you when you felt the difference in the pride community? You know, you start to feel different than the other kids.
Oh, that triggers a memory. Third grade, my first friend I ever made was a little white kid in my class, and we both had the same first name. And we got along great. You know, our friendship developed into a competition. We were making good grades. We were completing homework assignments. This kid was from my neighborhood. He lived far, just a couple blocks away from me. And as our friendship grew, came sleepover time. Well, we agreed that one weekend I would stay over his house with him, and the next weekend he would stay over my house with me. And our parents were in agreement. Both our parents had been to each other's houses, and you know, and that was okay. And well, the first weekend I spent the night at his house. The next weekend was my turn, and he didn't show. From Friday afternoon till Monday, I didn't see or hear from him. He didn't answer his door the first time I knocked. I went home and called him. He didn't answer the phone, and of course, you know, now I don't know what to make of it. So I go back again. Someone answers the door, someone I'd never seen before, tells me that he's not there and closes the door. Well, it took my father to explain to me, and what he said to me was, son, somebody got to him. Somebody got to him. And of course, as a kid, you don't understand these things. You know, you just can't understand, you know, what's going on with your friend. Well, Monday comes around, and I see him in school, and he won't speak to me, and I don't know why. And that's the way it was. We never spoke again. Even being in the same class, we never spoke again. And I still didn't realize what that was. I would say I came into the realm of understanding somewhere around 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade, is when I began to understand the face of systemic racism. Because I began to catch disparages between the white kids that I saw in their school and myself and the other kids who went to public school. And I began to see that even in the public school arena, these kids seem to be getting different stuff than we were getting. Kind of grow into it to understand it. I guess would be the best answer.
What year did you change schools?
78, 79. Actually, the fall of 79. I started out at a public school, inner city. About a month into school, my parents pulled me aside and told me, listen, we're going to move you to another school because you're not like those inner city kids. We think you would have a better learning environment across town. Well, this turned out to be a white high school. And I never wanted to break my parents' heart, so I never shared with him the kinds of things that I went through at that school. The bullying, the epithets, the baiting, lots of race baiting. And it was actually worse for me than the school I came from. But it gave me some real insight to what I would have to face. I'm thankful now. And this is one of the things that energizes me now, to see on television, to look out my window and see such diversity standing up together. This is the first time in American history that has happened. Before, it was black people fighting for their own rights. Now, the awareness is out there. This affects us all. We're all human beings, and we're all Americans. And there's no reason we should be turning on each other. As a veteran, it makes me sick. Because I've seen better. I grew up with better. Even in my own neighborhood was multicultural. But we didn't have these kind of problems. Everybody worked together. We were a whole community. I thought it was like that all over the country until I came of age and left Philadelphia and discovered that I had it real good, really good, because it was worse in other places. So I never took to complaining or whining or moaning about it. But it is. It is what it is. It's better now. It's much better now. We have hope. We all have hope, but we all have to play a part.
So what is rap all about?
You want the short answer?
Sure. Give you short answer, long answer.
Yeah, something like that. Rap by itself, an art form. We won't even go there. Rap is it began as a solution for inner city kids that had nowhere to play. The temperatures, summer temperatures, lots of people packed together. Eventually, it's like a tinderbox. In the late 70s, this is what was going on in the inner city in New York. It was also going on at the inner city in most large cities.
Okay, so what is with the clocks of Flavor Flav?
Clock means he's clocking. That's why he wore the big clock. I'm clocking big time.
Yeah, that means something completely different now. That means that's
Well, I mean, it's like when you go to work.
when you go to work.
You clock in. So you're clocking.
So
You're working.
Making money and
Yes, exactly. And there were many street terms, and they evolved over years. 70s. Right on, brother.
I remember seeing it mostly in historical pieces. Why does it seem like, at least historically, rap music seems very angry?
Well, it didn't begin that way. Let's go back a little bit. Rap was a resolution. It was a solution. Sorry, to an inner city problem, a problem of social order. But it wasn't angry rap. You know what I mean? It was competitive. Is what it was. The raps were competitions, one group against another, and then each person in the group could take turns that's how it was. Rap didn't become angry until political rapping showed up. Public Enemy, KRS-One, where they depicted the social injustices of the time, and they reflected the voice of the people in response to it. Because if I remember correctly, that's the first time I heard somebody on rap that was mad, but they were reflecting the voice of the people.
Seems like they had a pretty good reason to be mad.
Yes, which they started with the black community itself. It's to wake us up. It was to enlighten us as to the realities that have been distorted through time. KRS-One speaks of the genealogy in Genesis.
Right, I know the Moses and... I am not a Christian, so I don't remember the names. It is not... the Moses and...
Oh, that's the
Okay,
children of Israel.
Yeah.
It's to wake you up about the detachment. You see, when we were brought here, we lost our culture, we lost our religion, we lost our God. And even that's part of the rap. We want to look at Public Enemy, who actually said that and they included that in the rap.
Right.
Until recently, these events have just happened. There has been a systemic response to anything that came out of the cry about injustice, the shouting, the screaming about the anger about injustice. Remember when Black Lives Matter back in 2013 when they first came out, and they were first established, the response to them by the right wing was all lives matter.
Yeah.
Well, all lives do matter. However, who do you see on TV getting killed?
I guess not all lives matter if Black lives don't matter.
Well, I believe the country's finally coming around to that this is all of us. When I was in the service, the last thing you could do, didn't matter what country I was in, the last thing that you could do is let something happen to me as an American service member. Even civilians. You're an American citizen, they mess with one, they mess with all. And that was our attitude.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was the way that we did things. Well, believe it or not, it's still the same way even here at home. So there's some people that have taken that to an extreme, and other people who've done nothing at all. So it's going to take all of us to do this. It's going to take all of us to teach our kids. It's going to take all of us to stand up and scream with one voice. Stop the madness. End racism. End systemic racism. And that's what it's going to take. Yes, it is not restricted to just people of color.
It's almost like it seems almost like a class thing sometimes.
Sometimes it is. Or sometimes it's perceived that way, and perception can be at least 80% of what happens next. But we don't have to fall into that. We can open our own eyes and see. We can go next door and talk with our neighbor. You know what I mean? If you don't understand something about black culture, go ask somebody black. You know what I mean? We're countrymen. That means we're family. You know what I mean? This is the American family. I have family all over the world. Is this our break? Is this my chance to ask you questions?
Sure, ask away.
All right. So I've been kind of curious since this got out here today. Tell me about this hairdo.
Well, it's Pride Month, and I never could do a straight girl.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. My message is this is an example of what people can do. It doesn't matter what color it is. That's a whole bunch of rhetoric that they've been feeding people for generations. Okay? The message is we are all one. Okay? What happens to me happens to you. Okay? What happens to you happens to me. It affects us all. So it's going to take all of us. So let's get together and get at it. Okay?
Even as problematic white people.
I want to make sure I got that in. Education has a lot to do with it. And all of those social injustices, some of the things that we talked about earlier. Guy goes to apply for a job, you know what I mean? And he's got a family to take care of, you know? Well,
Getting trapped under a wheel.
yes. But to scream about it, they say, well, should have went to college. But that doesn't solve the problem.
No.
You know what I mean? Even going to college doesn't solve the problem. How many college grads do we have now looking for a job?
A lot.
You see?
A lot, and a lot of different colors.
So that doesn't really solve that problem. Look, that's how that door is closed to you. Okay, so you get yourself together. You say, I can't quit. I can't give up. I got a family to feed. So you go back there. And you say, hey, I need this job. You know what I mean? The guy says, okay, well, I can't pay you that much for this job. He might have advertised that job at $10 an hour, but he's only going to pay you $7.50. Okay, because he knows you need a job. And he can play hardball with you like that. And there are other ways. Before the frustration gets so great, the pressure to make ends meet gets to be so great, shows signs of that stress. And that's every day, and that's all the time. You know what I mean? Well, eventually, something's got to give. You know what I mean? So, but enough dealing with that, you end up with mad people. You see? Because they can't change. They can't change what's going on. Even though that they didn't wish it, they didn't work for it to be that way. You know what I mean? They're charged to survive in spite of it. I don't mean to scare you, but I certainly will, or anybody who's listening. Here's some clarity. That same systemic racism that has plagued people of color all their lives for the last 400 years, that same system is the same system that's in play now. Only they don't care that it's people of color. Now it's haves and have-nots. So if you're not, if you don't have enough money to have power to wield, then you're grouped in with everybody else. There's no difference between me and you in the eyes of the system. Because the system hasn't changed. You know what I mean? It hasn't changed. But now it's gravitating to directly against black, from that to directly against poor, directly against the non-blacks. Okay?
And this is not somebody I would normally quote, but I do remember somebody telling me this, and it kind of stuck with me. It's hard to call yourself privileged when you're struggling.
Right. Can't see it.
Right.
Yes, but it's there. It's I would tell people, and this is something that I've observed. Two guys at work, two white guys. They can't stand each other. They don't get along at all. Several times they have almost come to blows at work.
Not an unusual story.
No, until I had a problem with them. That's when it changed. Because as long as they had a target to direct their anger on, they stopped fighting amongst themselves. And both of them turned. So that's a very real lesson. You know, very, very real lesson. start was just unfortunate. You know, it's just unfortunate. But it is what it is. You gotta be careful. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just gotta be careful.
I know we went to Bridge Valley and now you're at EC. Have you run into those issues here?
Well, I'm studying online, so not a big window.
Because it's a little hard to judge people by color when you can't see them, right? I know we had fun at Bridge Valley.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, but with Bridge Valley is an inclusive environment, and they promote inclusivity, which I thought that was absolutely my experience there was awesome. I can't say as much about UC because I haven't been on campus.
Right.
Well,
I mean, what you started going there? What, March?
Yeah.
Yeah. So March.
You ever been curious why you don't see a lot of black businesses?
Not in West Virginia because there's just not a lot of black people. Probably it's because nobody wants to move us to West Virginia. The rest of the nation is fighting for a minimum wage of $15, and when I heard that, I thought that would crush West Virginia. That is the salary of an educated person here.
Well, it's already crushing West Virginia. Yeah. I've been here.
I don't blame people for not moving.
Right. I've been here 15 years. And one of the things that I've heard pretty commonly over that period was people explaining to me how their kids have grown up and left and never came back. I looked around as you know, in my travels, you know, I'm seeing how that weighed out.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what I saw was there were those that stayed. No new business, no big business. Apparently, they wanted to keep the big companies out, but they didn't manage to keep out Walmart.
Oh no.
And I watched Walmart almost literally close down the city I was in. All the shops on the main street, one by one, closed the doors. It's just Walmart Street.
Part of why, like, this is not a political channel. This is a psychic channel, and I swear to God, we will go back to psychic content. I got some lovely ideas, people, lovely ideas. But I just couldn't let this one go because this is a big part of the solution.
Sure.
And as a psychically aware individual, I don't believe that you can claim to have a level of empathy if you're not willing to help another person out.
Sure.
You know how I said, like, because honest to God, when this all first broke out, I panicked. I panicked, and that's when I called you, and this whole thing got started. I'm like, you remember that?
Yes, I do. That was very touching to me, and very, very serious. And that was what was so significant for me about that was the first time in my lifetime that something that is live and die serious to me, something I had to live every day, that somebody else could feel my pain enough to pick up the phone and call me. That was off the hook. But that's what it felt.
Oh,
No, I don't.
It's a hug moment.
But that matters to me. So having this opportunity and extending it to me, this platform is another example. This is all an example. Coming together. It doesn't have to necessarily be with somebody in your own personal circle. We are all Americans. Talk to each other. I'm not angry. I don't want to speak out and cause a ruckus. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I want to do is focus on solutions. So the first thing is to ask myself that question that you asked me. How do we fix this? You know what I mean? Where do we start? Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to come together. The next thing we got to do is we have to fathom that this is actually what is happening, and it takes everybody.
Problematic white people included.
Okay, even though it's black people getting killed in the street, that's another America. And guess what? You're American. You see? So it affects you as well.
I certainly feel affected.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean,
I know you're not glad I'm like panicking, but yeah.
yeah, there's an ultra sensitive subject.
Right.
What I'm glad about is that my white brothers and sisters are waking up to this as well. They're Americans. You know what I mean? That means it affects you, America. You know, I have hope for what I've seen in these spots. And I want to make a contribution. I want to do my part. I want to be there when it's time to talk about the tough subject. You know, as one who has managed to reason with his anger, loneliness.
Cracking jokes about swinging from the same tree.
Yeah.
They were funny when I didn't understand. They were just rude. Now I understand, and they're a little more horrifying.
Well, here's a tough bestower.
Right.
Knowledge is responsibility. You feel me? That clarity that you got from that moment, you can never go back from. You know now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can't go back from that. That will bother you. That will touch your conscience for the rest of your life.
You know, I do have to say, though, I think one thing I have to be proud about my state is how we have been handling the
coronavirus?
Well, not just the coronavirus, but also Black Lives Matter, all the upheaval that has been 2020.
Oh, wow.
Kind of proud of West Virginia because we seem to be, of the places I've heard, the place you think that it would be the worst, where we're isolated, we're underfunded in some ways, and, you know, things are a bit cracked. I think that as a people, though, I'm kind of proud of how we've been handling things.
Well, I haven't seen anything crazy here.
Or there's something like up in the panhandle, but we don't own those.
We don't own those.
I'm gonna have to rephrase that.
This is where we go to commercial.
Let's take a break. I need a break.
Oh yeah. It's the party animals in the house, yo. One more time, gather together to do this, boy.
I tried.
You know, we should have like a hip hop game.
Yes.
What?
Ashland is having a March for Change on the 27th. If you want to check them out on Facebook, it is a family-orientated event. There will be people of color speaking about their experiences.
Is that on the weekend?
It's next Sunday.
Next
It's
Sunday.
literally a week from today.
I mean,
I keep asking you about it, and I keep not getting an answer.
so we will continue our contribution in 1 week's time at a march in Kentucky, Ashland, Kentucky.
Remember, again, that is a family event. There will be people with their children trying to better the world together.
I like that. I like that. I like what it means. I like what it stands for. I like that.
Yeah. So that's look them up on Facebook. I do hope to see as many people there as possible. Yeah. So that's.
Don't be missing. Participate.
Yeah. I also want to remember that our cause of the month is Black Lives Matter. And as a white girl, I really can't say that I fully understand it, but I do know that I have a black friend and his life matters to me.
So sweet.
That's how freaking ignorant I am. Look, it happens. Ignorance is not hate.
Listen, this is all about Wake Up America. The world is going around and we need all of you. I need all of you. You need all of us. Okay? This is a we thing. This is not a me thing. And that's why my friend and I have gathered today to make this recording, just to share with the world and my fellow Americans in particular. Okay? It's what it is.
Our cause
Black
of the month.
Lives Matter.
This is our cause of the month, and the link is below. So if you'd like to find out more information about that particular movement and donate to their cause, the link is below.
Outstanding. All right. Well, for my part, I want to once again thank my friend Dottie for lending me her platform.
Playing the pot. You know, this part of why I had to put on the wig because I couldn't just be this problematic in real life.
You know what? I think if you were any different, I would probably feel uncomfortable.
Well, I am definitely different.
We want to say once again, Happy Father's Day, Happy Juneteenth. May God bless us all.
Safe travel and much profit to you.